Hi, I'm Jake Brown, and you're watching my first fitness series of training videos. Today is day 9 in getting back into shape after quarantine, and I'm gonna take you through a back workout. Let's get right into it. So before I start my heavy exercises, I'm always gonna warm up. First thing I do is banded pull-aparts. As you can see here, I'm keeping my elbows completely straight and locked out, because if my elbows bend, chances are my triceps are gonna assist in the pulling action as I pull that band apart. If my elbows are completely locked out and there's no movement in that joint, then all the tension from the band is gonna move straight through the arms and into the back. And that's what I'm trying to warm up, those back muscles. Then I use the same band for just some over the head shoulder stretches. Again, keeping elbows straight so that I can stretch the pecs and the front delts. I wanna make sure that these muscles aren't super tight from a previous workout so that my shoulder joint can move smoothly. That's really important when doing back exercises, especially the first exercise that we're about to go to. After that, I just swing my arms around. I'm just trying to keep everything loose, make sure my shoulders feel good and warmed up. If I feel like there's anything still kind of tight, then I'll go back to the banded pull-aparts, I'll go back to the stretches, and I'll work on that spot until I feel like everything's good to go. And of course, push-ups. Why am I doing push-ups on back day? Well, because doing these push-ups allows me to move the shoulder joint, warm it up, and it also gets the scapula in my back, warming up my scaps, warming up my back. It's all moving. Even though I'm pushing with my chest and arms, it's still warming up the area I'm about to exercise. And one of my least favorites, but one I know I have to do, back extensions. Get on the ground, face down. I start with both arms and both legs, lifting my whole body off the ground, and then I'll do some alternating right arm, left arm, right leg, only arms or upper body, and then only legs. Really focusing on squeezing my glutes and making sure my glutes are working with my back muscles. All right, the first real warm-up exercise are gonna be some dumbbell back flies, followed by some dumbbell shoulder raises or lateral raises. I'm only using 10-pound dumbbells here, light enough that I'm not gonna exhaust any of my muscles before I start training them, but it's enough weight that I'm gonna get a solid warm up and I'm gonna get a little pump going on in my shoulders. All right guys, it's time to set up the bar. First exercise is gonna be bent over rows. So it's really important in this exercise that I keep my back flat, and as I lower into position, I'm pushing my hips backward, my knees stay in place. They're still right above my ankles, and my arms fall just in front of my knees so that the bar doesn't scrape my knees, but it's very close. I'm not leaning forward, and I'm not leaning too far back. I'm keeping the weight right over my feet. Now I'm doing my best here not to wobble my body up and down, but I feel like a little bit is okay, just to kind of cushion the bottom of the rep so that when the weight's coming down, I'm not jerking my shoulders. I wanna try and keep my torso in one locked position. It's hard. Now let's talk about the movement of the bar. I'm trying to pull the bar perfectly vertical, straight up and down. To do that, I focus on my elbows. Where are my elbows and where are they moving? I wanna pull my elbows straight up toward the ceiling. And if I do it right, the bar is gonna go perfectly vertical, up and down each time. A lot of people have trouble with this exercise where they pull their elbows down, and you'll notice instead of the elbow being above the wrist, it starts leaning back and they start doing a little rotation movement with the shoulder. We don't want that. What we want is a nice, clean, vertical pull. All right, after tearing down the weight, it's time to move on. Next up is gonna be a lat pull down. So the first exercise, the Bentover rows, we call that a horizontal pulling movement. My arms in relation to my body are horizontal and I'm pulling back. A lat pull down is a vertical pulling movement. My arms are up above my head and I'm pulling in line with my body, vertical in relation to my body. So switching it up now, doing some lat pull downs, and focusing once again on my elbows, pulling straight down toward the floor. This is gonna help me keep a vertical movement pattern as I'm pulling that bar down. I'm trying to maintain the same tempo throughout this exercise. Nice, smooth, controlled reps. No jerking the bar. And I don't want a lot of space between my body and the bar. I'm pulling down and I'm also pulling it in to keep it close, but without allowing my elbows to lift up behind my back. Always want those elbows aiming toward the floor and pulling straight down. Moving on to one arm dumbbell row, the classic. So for this one, it's a little more tricky with the feet placement. I wanna spread my feet apart, so I'm not in a lunge position. I'm more staggered out in a horizontal direction. The reason for this is I want my hips to be level. I don't want one hip higher than the other hip. In order to do that, one leg goes out mostly straight and then the other is bent and further forward. As you can see in the video, the kickstand leg is out of the way, so I have room to pull that dumbbell toward my hip. With the single arm dumbbell row, I like to start with a lighter weight and then move to a heavier weight. And the reason I do that is because I want to pay very close attention to my form on this exercise. It's easy to get out of control. It's easy to let the shoulders start lifting up too high or dropping too low. For the most part, I want my torso perfectly level with the ground without any kind of rotation. And to finish up the day, my favorite core exercise, hanging leg raises. During these leg raises, I'm trying to keep my body as still as possible. I don't want to start swinging. This means I have to lift my legs slowly and balance my body so I don't create too much inertia with my legs and cause my body to start rocking back and forth. This adds another degree of difficulty, but it's going to make this workout a lot more effective. I'm trying to keep my legs completely straight with my knees locked out, but sometimes it gets kind of hard and the knees will bend a little bit. But my goal is perfectly straight legs. And I don't just want to lift my legs up and down. Notice that I'm lifting my feet to the level of my hips, but then going a little bit higher. That's because I want to bring my hips underneath my body, rotating them forward and up toward the ceiling. By doing that, I'm getting a much greater contraction in my abs. All right, guys, that concludes the back workout. This is day 9 of my getting back into shape after quarantine. And hey, you know what? I'm already feeling like I'm back in shape. I thought it would take me about 3 weeks. It took me about a week. Thanks for watching. Please hit like and subscribe. See you next time.